Hi, it's Cara, and I just got back from class, so I thought I should film a wrap up. So I have a bunch of books here that I have read, both physical books and ebooks, and a couple of graphic novels that I have to wrap up for you in this season of library books. So we'll just get straight onto it, shall we? So first off, since we last did a wrap up, which is kind of where we're going from, at the moment I read, we'll start off with, a graphic novel called In Real Life by Cory Doctorow. I can't remember the artist's name. Let me find that. 1 second. Okay, so this book was called In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. Jen Wang being the illustrator. It was a quite short graphic novel. I think it was on the short side even for a graphic novel, about talking about international economy and gaming, and had some complex ideas told in an engaging and fun way. I just made the table shake. So I really enjoyed this. It was fun and short, but also complex in its ideas, which I enjoyed. I think I gave it about 4 stars. It wasn't, the art was nice, but not the best thing I've ever seen. The story was fun, but not super good. Like it was trying to send this message about international economics and things like that. So there was a message to it, which I think was the main focus, rather than concentrating on a fun, engaging story. So the balance kind of tipped too far towards message for my liking, but that was fine. I did give it, I think, maybe 4 out of 5 stars. It was quite enjoyable. Then I read Life Before Legend by Marie Lu, which of course is a mini novella showing 2 scenes, one from June and one from Day's perspective in the Legend Chronicles. I enjoyed this. It was a novella, so for me, novellas kind of lack a substance that full novels have, so I can never give them as high ratings unless they are really engaging for whatever reason, which is rare. But I did enjoy it. It gave some nice insight into the characters, but it was really played no part in the story and was just a thing. So I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the bee's knees. How about that? I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Then things got interesting, and I read Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas, which I had, of course, been reading for a while. It took some time, and little things popped up before then. This is the 3rd and soon-to-be released book in the Throne of Glass series, and for the first half of the book, it felt a bit slow. It took a bit to get into it, but I also felt that with Crown of Midnight, and then the second half of the book just blew things out of the water. I was emotionally confused because characters I had loved in earlier books suddenly I didn't like as much, and there were new characters, and my ship preferences changed all over the place. The people I like the relationships I'd enjoyed in the past, suddenly I enjoyed new relationships, and something I love about Sarah J. Maas's writing is the way she takes every book in the series, makes such a big leap. Like, the whole book seems like a spoiler, because it makes such a big leap between the 3rd book and the first one, even from the 3rd to the 2nd. They've got independent plot lines, but also long, big, overarching plot lines that are really complex and filled with life. And just, whoo, the characters are wonderful. There's so much depth to them all. You keep finding out new things, and they get more complicated and interesting. And just the end of Air of Fire. The end. Somebody who's finished it needs to message me so that we can talk about the end, because I have a lot of feelings, okay? I have a lot of feelings. If you couldn't already tell, I gave Air of Fire 5 stars. Then I read another little novella, which was Warm Up by V.E. Schwab, which is the prequel novella to Vicious, which was cool because I haven't read Vicious yet, and it was a nice way to get me excited about the world, which I now am, and plan to read Vicious quite soon. So that was very cool. it's really making me think of X-Men, which I really like, so I'm there. I think I gave Warm Up 3.5 stars. Then I read No Place Like Oz, which is the prequel novella to Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. Again, I was going on prequel novellas, but you can't read a book without reading the prequel novella, can you? No. So I read this before reading Dorothy Must Die, which I will show you in a minute, and essentially I liked it, but it is a distinct story from Dorothy Must Die, and it is quite long for a novella. So I did kind of have to slog through it, which I also found was kind of the case with the book, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But I primarily, that was because I found Dorothy to be insufferable, and just, she is kind of the villain, and she was kind of villainy, yet also the main character. That anti-heroes are different, but villains as main characters, unless you are so complex and so rich and deep, or very, very witty, I have trouble with. And Dorothy was not enough of those things for me, but the story was interesting, and I was excited to see how it would progress into Dorothy Must Die. So that's a plus. So then I actually read Dorothy Must Die, and this is kind of great. I wouldn't call it amazing. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was an interesting book. I connected a lot better to Amy than I did to Dorothy in the prequel novella, but it was a bit slow, not enough action for my liking. With the title Dorothy Must Die, you would expect a bit more action, but perhaps the second book in the series will have that. So this is essentially about a girl who is sent to Oz to kill Dorothy, essentially, and she is trying to kill Dorothy because Dorothy has taken over Oz and is being a bit of a dictator and using her magic and is using her magic to I can't talk today. And is using her magic to the detriment of the rest of the society of Oz. And I kind of just wanted more action from it. I wanted more. It was okay, but I wanted more. A lot of time was spent getting Amy to a certain point, and I kind of, there were bits I enjoyed, but there were also bits that I really had to slog through. So I gave it 4 stars. It was interesting all up. I did enjoy it, but a star was knocked off because it was a bit slow. Then I read Saga Volume 3 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is the 3rd and newest released volume of Saga, and I really enjoyed it. It's not the kind of thing I feel like I should enjoy, but somehow it is so super engaging that you just can't not enjoy it. This is a science fiction fantasy series set on these series of planets, so it's got very sci-fi elements with these fantasy creatures that a husband and wife come from warring races, essentially, and they have a kid, which is not this kid. Pointing skills is not this child, but there are things to do with this child. And essentially it follows the story of them and the people who are trying to find them, to apprehend them, because they're currently on the run. And it's just a really well told story, I feel. Like, it's crude, it's violent, it's got a lot of things that would not normally be my cup of tea, but the story is just so fun and engaging. And the way it is told, it's told from the child's perspective in retrospect, and just, it's such a good story that I just want to continue and find out what happens to this little girl. It's just, it's the best. This series is so good. For adults only. Be an adult, folks. Be an adult. Then I read another book in the gap between that book and the next book, but I'm not going to wrap it up today because I'm not taking you back to the library yet, so I'll wrap it up when that time comes. But just know, I did read a book here. I read a book in this spot. But then after that, I read The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This is a book about a man who is going back to his hometown and has some memories. It's about as much as I kind of want to say because it's very mysterious and it's meant to be that way. This book was really kind of spooky, and at times I was kind of terrified, but it kind of lent to the magic of it. And I can't explain what I mean by that, but this book had a kind of folklorish, tales around the campfire feel that I really loved, but that was so creepy. So creepy. And it was really good. I really, really loved it. It's the kind of thing you should just read. It's short, though this is deceptively not that short. And so it's less than 300 pages. And I feel like it's the kind of thing people just need to read and appreciate. Yes, 5 stars. And then finally, for this wrap up, I read The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. This is the first in a trilogy, I'm assuming. Yes. And follows a girl who is in a tragic accident and is now talking about her, like, recovering from the accident, essentially. And it's talking in retrospect. It is incredibly creepy. All these occurrences are happening, and she doesn't know what's going on, yet she may have something very much to do with it, and it is just full of creepiness. What I loved best about this book was that the whole way through, you were never sure whether what you were reading was truth or imagination. Essentially, the main girl Mara, is on antipsychotic medication. So she sees things that aren't there. She has hallucinations and delusions. So it's always curious as to whether what you're reading is reality or a psychotic episode. And it keeps you on your toes. I'm still not sure whether this whole plot of this book was real or not. I'm a little bit concerned that it could all be in her imagination, but I don't really know. So far where we stand, it's just creepy as hell. Really, really creepy. But I am super excited to read more. This was very well written. I felt very engaging. I read it in just a couple of days, which would have been shorter, but I got distracted with YouTube. I kind of fell into a miserable pit of... wasn't miserable. It was very fun at the time, but I spent a whole evening just watching YouTube videos. Nerdy Nummies. You should check it out. It's really good if you love cooking shows. She makes some beautiful cakes. I'll link her down below or something. I'll figure a way to do that. But yes, this was very good. You should read it. That's pretty much all I have to say. I think I gave this 4.5 stars. Wasn't quite 5-star material for me because I've started giving myself high standard for 5 stars, but it was very good. So these were the books I read since my last wrap up. I can't really say in the month of August because it was kind of just the end of August. But yeah, so I'm about to go take these back to the library, and then I was going to say I have a mini haul, but there's only one book that I'm picking up, so I might just save it till I get a few more, and I'll have a haul for you. Yes. And I'm going to read more books, so we'll see how I go in September. Expect another wrap up from me relatively soon because I do already have one book read on the pile. That of course my friend is reading, so I haven't wrapped it up here. And I'm hoping to get some more books read soon. So yeah, expect one of those soon. Feel free to comment down below, let me know if you've read any of these, what you think. Please talk to me about Air of Fire, please, because I need someone to share my emotions with. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope you're having very wonderful times reading, and I will see you soon. Goodbye!